Nice. Next up, taking a peek at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Kia Niro. So this is the EV version of the vehicle, and it's going to look very similar when you're in some of the other vehicles, so the plug-in as well as the traditional hybrid as well. But walking you through everything you need to know. Steering wheel, most likely going to have a heated option, and you can turn it on just down the center stack. The steering wheel is going to be a manual telescoping, so just by your left knee, you can drop down in order to go in, out, up and down to find that perfect position, and then just click it to lock it back into place. Stick on the left-hand side. It's going to be for your lights, so you can adjust, figure out what's going on. I honestly just always recommend keeping it in the auto mode, and then you could flash out, high beams, and then permanently lock your high beams on by pushing away. So it's essentially in an auto mode right now. What that means is that when you're in the auto mode, if the vehicle senses there's somebody oncoming, it's going to dim your high beams automatically and then turn them right back on again. So you can either flash if you want to, warn people, or put it into the auto mode if you want. Stick on the right side is going to be for your front wipers. Then there's the tip of that stick in order to get your rear wipers going instead. Very straightforward. Series of different buttons available, but one thing to point out, paddle shifters. So you're going to be able to go into one pedal or iDrive by going to the left. So you can see there you're an I pedal. So what that means, it's one pedal driving, so you'd only have to worry about the accelerator. Take your foot off the accelerator and you go and you slow down very rapidly. You can still use the brake, but with that I pedal, you really don't have to because of how quickly you slow down. And then you can go into different regen modes by going up and down this way instead. Series of buttons along the side there, and these ones are going to be for the smart cruise control system. So in order to use the smart cruise system, once you drive, you turn it on, increase or decrease 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time. There's a distance indicator, so how close or far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. And then there's also the lane follow assist. So one of the big benefits of that system is it keeps you perfectly balanced in your lane as you go. Not fully self-driving because your hand technically has to be on the steering wheel, but it's very, very close at the same time. These buttons let you go through the little cluster screen, which I'll touch on in a second. Along this side, there are 2 different mode buttons there that let you do a few things. So the top mode gives you the flexibility of going through your different sources. So Bluetooth audio, sounds of nature, USB music, etc. I always just recommend whatever sources you typically have, just go through all of them. Secondary button there gives you the flexibility of going through a few other things. So do you want it to be a map button, reroute, cancel route, EV mode, and things like that. So you can select what you want these buttons to do. From there, you've got a few other options. So if you go into, let's go media for a second, boom, radio, and let's go FM. Perfect. So we go up and down this way in order to go between different presets. You can do a press and hold there in order to seek. This is going to be your volume rocker, so you can go up and down this way. You can push in the middle in order to be able to mute out. You can answer or hang up on a phone call, and then there's also a voice command prompt. So that's going to let you do things like change songs, radio stations, navigate using your voice. But there are so many things. You can open the lift gate, you can close the lift gate, you can adjust the climate settings and things like that. So I definitely recommend getting used to the voice command prompts because there are so many cool things that you can do inside the vehicle. Next one is going to be your drive mode. So there are a few different modes that are available. So clicking through, you've got sport mode, there's normal, eco mode as well. And then you can also do a press and hold of that button in order to get into your snow mode. So each mode does do something different. It plays you through traction control, stability control, and a few other things. So sport mode essentially unlocks the truest performance inside the vehicle. Definitely recommend sport mode though, if you like to have a little bit of fun. It is a really, really nice feeling there. And the other things we're going to go through are these buttons in order to go through different pages on the vehicle itself. But before I do, right along the very top lets you know that you're ready to go, how much mileage you currently have left, so 375 kilometers on this current charge. The auto hold setting, with that one turned on, that one's going to keep you, that one essentially, if you take your foot off the brake, if you come to a stop, it's going to hold the vehicle in place. Electronic parking brake, current outside temperature, what your current kilowatt hour usage is. So that would be the equivalent of like your miles per gallon or liters per 100. So it's what kind of economy are you currently getting? The drive mode that you're currently in, and then your current kilometers, so your total kilometers. You've got charge power there as well. So not going to get anything until you start driving, but when you have regen braking, it's going to drop versus when you're accelerating. It essentially works like a traditional tachometer to a degree. You've got what's currently going on with road speed. the gear that you're currently in. So you're in reverse, neutral, whatever the case may be. One cool thing, like when you're in reverse, if you've got the reverse or forward sensing system, it's going to show up there letting you know. And then if there's an obstacle behind you on the left or right side, it's going to let you know of a potential obstacle or collision there as well. Really, really neat. Then as you see there, auto parking brake engaged too. And you've got a series of other ones along the top. So you've got this car icon, and that's essentially going to be your settings. So you press and hold OK for settings. That's going to launch up inside of the cluster, inside of the media screen there. And that gives you a ton of different options. So there are vehicle settings, driver convenience, safety settings, attention warnings, parking safety, and so many other things. The cluster you can adjust out, so the illumination, if you want to make it brighter, darker, whatever the case may be. Cluster theme selection, so if you wanted to. So we're currently in the sport mode there, so you can either link it to your drive mode, or you can permanently lock it out to one of the other modes instead. You can reset your average consumption, figure out what's going on with info that's there. Do you want it to play welcome sound as well when you get into the vehicle? If you had the head-up display, that would also show up there as an available option, but there are a ton of different things you can do inside of this. But if you want a full walkthrough of the infotainment, you'll find it down in the description of this video. But back to the screen itself and moving down, actually let's move across to different pages, and then you've got a few other things. So your driving info, after recharge, accumulated info, if you're idling, and then your current speed. So drive info is when you've turned the vehicle off and then you've turned it back on again. That's that accumulated info. This one is since you've recharged, how far have you traveled? You can press and hold OK in order to reset. And then this is your total accumulated info. So it would essentially be like a trip one counter. So you've got a few different options that are available there, and then press and hold OK to reset across the board. Moving down, you can also see your digital speed, and you can tweak out the speed through that little cluster, or through the little infotainment screen there instead. Moving across, you can see that this thing just has a regular compass there. But if you go through, let's go map, and let's find. Guess it helps if I actually type in the T. Going nice and Canadian of me, Tim Hortons. And I'm going to go just to one of these options. Set as destination, and we're going to set as destination. No. Watch this. Start guidance.
Please proceed to the
Look at that.
highlighted route.
So you've got,
route guidance will start.
so it's not mapping cluster, unfortunately, but you can see how far to your destination and then what route you have to take. If you had the HUD, this would also show up inside of it too, which is kind of cool, along with your speed and a few other useful things. So I like that you've got that available as an option, showing right through the cluster screen, and then when you cancel out, it just goes back to just the traditional compass there instead. And then there's just basic information, which is just going to be for your tire pressure. So I know that there's a lot of info there, but that's everything that you need to know about the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Kia Niro.